Attention, attention, this is a CineRam special report. There is only 1 day left to enter the current contest. Look in the description below, there are 2 videos linked. Click on either of them and leave a comment entry or a video response to either video before the end of the day. DVD prizes will be awarded on Thursday. Also in related news, the second Avengers movie is written and directed by Joss Whedon. I have less cause to be excited about this than the first one, but yeah, it's still great. Yesterday, the report was posted on a couple of websites. Not only is he going to be directing, but he'll also be scripting the second Avengers movie, which will probably come out in 2015. Not only that, but there's also going to be a Marvel television series, a series set in the Marvel universe with Marvel characters that Joss Whedon is going to be developing himself. Now, that's cool for a couple reasons. One, he's doing it, because that's great. 2, he's doing it, which means he's back on TV, which is great. I love my Joss Whedon TV series. I like to get that weekly Joss Whedon dose, even if it isn't necessarily an episode that he has directed or written or whatever. I know he's the man behind it all, so it's great. So yeah, that's exciting. Couple of problems I foresee with the television series involve the fact that it's a television series, which means that they have a limited amount of time to do each episode, and it sounds really expensive to put together a weekly show with Marvel superheroes in it. That sounds like a lot of trouble. I'm pretty sure the soonest that we'll be seeing a show like this will be fall of next year. They just announced it, so chances are they're going to spend a lot of time developing and working on it, making sure that it'll go smoothly. It's going to be on ABC, which is, I guess, beneficial because that's one of the biggest networks, and Joss Whedon's been mistreated somewhat by Fox for the shows he's had in the past. But yeah, it's good news all in all. I'm stoked. Yes, very, very stoked. Yeah, the whole business with the television series seems to possibly be something like what they were planning with the Dark Tower before that project got put on hold, and that is to kind of lead into a feature film. The way I understand the Dark Tower was supposed to be divided up into a feature film to be released in the summer, and then that year and through the next spring was going to be the first season of a television series, and then a second film that summer, and then another season of the TV series, and then the third film that would sort of wrap everything up, something like that. Very, very ambitious. Ron Howard was going to be the guy behind it all. So I don't know exactly what they've got planned. Like I said, it's just announced, so no details as to who's going to be in it or anything like that, what characters. They had Comic-Con was a few weeks ago, and they announced basically their whole lineup of upcoming Marvel movies. Next May, the first weekend in May, is going to be Iron Man 3. It's directed by Shane Black, who of course has written a lot of really good scripts for action movies, but he's also the director of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from 2005, which Downey started, so it's likely that Downey got him to do it. So that should be fun. I don't know how much he's had to do with the script. I know he didn't write the draft or anything like that. He's probably doing rewrites or whatever, dialogue tweaks or whatever, which is a good thing because he's very good with dialogue. Then, not in the summer, but in November, that's like 7 months later, in November, we'll have the second Thor movie. It's called Thor: The Dark World, and the director is Alan Taylor. He's never done a feature film, but he's directed a bunch of television episodes: Sopranos, Mad Men, Game of Thrones. He's got a long, long list of television shows that he's directed on, either 1 episode or 2 episodes, or a whole series of them. Chris Hemsworth, of course, Natalie Portman, Tom Hiddleston, Anthony Hopkins, they should all be back for that. And then, about the following April, so that's about 5 months later, you've got Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the next Captain America movie. Don't know a lot about who's going to be in this other than Chris Evans. The Winter Soldier is, a storyline in the comics. Don't know a lot about that character, so that'll be my source of information on that, will be the film itself. And then we've got in August, that summer, August of 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is something that I'd never even heard of before. Apparently focuses on 5 creatures who are not Earthlings, who are probably involved in the fight with Thanos. Thanos is the incredibly powerful alien supervillain that was seen during the credits for the Avengers. As kind of the guy who's, he was apparently the guy who gave the scepter to Loki and sort of sponsored his whole campaign to rule the Earth. So chances are they're going to be dealing with him as a lead-in to the second Avengers movie. So that's in August of 2014, and then in 2015, of course, probably May 1st, 2015 will be the second Avengers movie in which the Avengers get back together and fight Thanos. Yeah, I don't know, the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, I'm not really sure about that. It seems like it would be better suited to an animated movie, because you've got people in sort of weird costumes, they're all aliens and makeup, whatever, but you've also got a tree creature, and you've got Rocket Raccoon, which apparently is a super intelligent and combat-ready animal, raccoon, right? that fights aliens. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would be just be better to do the Avengers sequel as an animated movie, especially since you've got, you know, Iron Man and the Hulk. They're already animated characters, but of course they won't do that. They'll have, you know, Downey, you know, live action, and Scarlett Johansson. Well, I don't know if she'll be in the movie, but you know, that's kind of where they're going with this. Also, there's an Ant-Man movie being developed. Edgar Wright, who's the director, of course, of Shaun of the Dead and Scott Pilgrim, he's doing that. Don't know really who's going to be in that or when that's coming out. I don't know. You know, much about the character at all, really. He's not a character that I'm familiar with. Same with Guardians. So yeah, that's their plan right there. But it's really good news to know that Joss Whedon is going to be running the show on that second Avengers movie, because he really did a terrific job. I had my complaints about the movie, but it's definitely one of the most entertaining movies I've seen this year. I went to see it 3 times, wasn't bored for a minute, even on the third viewing. It's a good thing. So yeah, that's great. Oh, the other downside is that Joss Whedon is not doing his own stuff. He's not working with his own characters and developing his own material. He may do another Dr. Horrible film, but he has a scripted film, a film that he scripted but didn't direct, coming out sometime in the future. I think it's called In Your Eyes, and he's got an adaptation of Shakespeare coming out this fall. I think it's Much Ado About Nothing, which has a lot of his regular players in it. So yeah, he's not going to be, you know, doing nothing in between now and the whole Marvel onslaught. But yeah, it's great to know that he's going to be in charge of that whole thing. That's really cool. I also wanted to mention a couple of other things that were recently talked about, just in the movie news. There was the announcement that Peter Jackson would be expanding the second Lord of the Rings movie into 2 movies. So we've got An Unexpected Journey, which is coming out at the end of this year, and then we've got another 2 movies, one coming out of Christmas of 2013, and I think the third one is going to be coming out maybe in the summer of 2014, or they might possibly delay it a whole year after that. I don't see this as particularly good news. I know a lot of people are huge Lord of the Rings fan, and they want to see every little detail of J.R.R. Tolkien's work in this fictional universe on screen. I don't really see how that's necessary. If there were 2 Hobbit books, or 2 parts to The Hobbit, then that could probably be 2 movies. I mean, we're not talking about what happened with Return of the King, where they took the giant spider sequence from out of the 2 towers and put it into Return of the King. I mean, that's a simple rearrangement of events that, you know, they're talking about making a whole new movie by adding, just throwing more stuff into it, adding as much stuff from Tolkien's writing as possible. They're searching through all kinds of appendices and little scraps of paper that he scribbled on when he was a teenager, or something like that. They're just going to throw everything they can into making 3 movies instead of 2. Why? Because they're making more money and it makes it a nice, neat trilogy. It's like with the Star Wars prequels, you know? I mean, there was so much... George Lucas was talking about how he really only had like enough story material for like 1 movie and a third. So, but he stretched it out, threw in a whole bunch of other stuff and characters to make it into 3 whole movies, so you have a whole trilogy, a whole big epic trilogy, and that's what's happening here as well. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I like the second one. The first one, I'm not crazy about. The third one I think is pretty darn boring. So this is not really great news for me. And you know, just the whole idea of the prequel series is just like, we all know what's going to happen, you know? I mean, here's Gollum again being creepy, you know? I mean, we know what happens to him. We know what happens with Ian, the Ian Holm character. Frodo is now played by the guy from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Can't remember his name, which is sad for me. I ought to know the lead actor's name from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, I just, you know, it's a whole big tub of why. Gandalf in the trailer is like, I cannot guarantee your safety. Well, I can. I've seen the other movies. I know that Frodo lives through The Hobbit, you know? So yeah, not a lot of suspense there for me. And it's not like with Star Wars where I'm nostalgic because they're like films from my childhood. You know, I'm not nostalgic about Lord of the Rings. So, you know, I was planning on skipping 2 of them, and now I'll be skipping 3 of them, I guess. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is Cloud Atlas. A couple weeks ago there was a new trailer released for this movie, but more intriguingly there was also a sort of trailer introduction video. Tom Tykwer, who is the director of Run Lola Run and another really good film called Perfume Story of a Murder, he teamed up with the Wachowskis to direct this film, which is an adaptation of a novel. The trailer, I watched it like one time, and I probably won't watch it again. I didn't really get a good handle on the story because it seems very, very long and complicated. Apparently there was a 3-hour cut screen at Cannes, or 3 hour and 20 minutes, and the domestic release of the movie this fall, I think October is when it comes out, is going to be just around 2.5 hours. So they're going to be cutting out a lot of material for the regular release. They may do that longer version on video. I do not know. I really don't know. I didn't really get a good handle of what it was about. And I think probably the problem is that trailer is 5 minutes long, and it's a lot of information to take in. I think boiling it down to just sort of the simplest explanation of a complicated story would probably be better than trying to cram in so many story points and characters into a preview. You know, the idea is to, you know, get everyone excited about it, not confuse them with an overload of information. You know, you need to know this about the movie, and this about the movie, and this about the movie. Just, you know, it's not as necessary. Spielberg, you know, in the past would have very, very simple trailers for any of his movies. They'd hardly have any footage at all from the film itself. It's just, you know, again, just selling the concept. But for me, the most interesting thing about this was seeing the Wachowskis for the first time, because the Wachowskis haven't done any publicity on anything at all since 1999, since the first Matrix movie came out. They've been very, very press shy and haven't, you know, even been featured in their own behind-the-scenes footage for the Matrix sequels. You know, you see them on the set, basically, but you don't actually see them sitting down for an interview on camera. All the stunt coordinators and other people, you know, and Joel Silver, the big producer in the project, he was around basically to help sell the movie, but they weren't. They just didn't want to talk to anybody. And it was the same with Speed Racer, which they also co-directed, and V for Vendetta, which they didn't direct but produced and adapted the script for. Again, it was just Joel Silver and the actors talking about the film, and they didn't appear at all. And now here they are with Cloud Atlas, appearing on camera, talking to everybody. And you know, it's a little unusual, especially since Larry Wachowski is now Lana Wachowski. Lana is a transgender woman. She was born Andy Wachowski's brother, and now she's a woman. I think that's fantastic that they just had her there on with them, same as the other directors, you know, not making a big deal out of it, not, you know, calling attention to the fact that, hey, this is Lana, but she used to be Larry, which is great. And you know, she's there talking with them about the project, same as the other guys. So that's a good thing. I don't know about the film itself. I'm interested in it, but they were talking about having the actors play different races and different genders, and that could be a recipe for disaster. You know, I don't know how well that's going to work, especially if they're making Tom Hanks into a black guy, which I've read they are, for one segment of the storyline. So I don't know how that's going to play, but I'm interested in it, that's for sure. And some of the visuals look pretty striking. But I've tried not to retain too much, just so I can go in as fresh as possible. But yeah, looks odd. And it's great again to have them, you know, feature all 3 of them, and not make any special mention or call attention to the fact that you know, Lana's a transgender woman. So that's great. Just treat it like, you know, ordinary, everyday people making another big movie, just like they always do. So hopefully it will work out for the best. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I just wanted to again remind you about the contest. I'll be getting up early tomorrow morning to check the entries. So if it's the middle of the night, you haven't posted yet, you can still do it. Yeah, just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I've been reading about. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.